This is Tanobon. This week we're going over Tanobon Essentials, adding a few new series to that. My name's Cole Greco, and joining me as usual is my co-host Jude Knoll. Jude, how's it going?
Doing pretty well. Honestly, I've been curious since the last episode. A lot of Nintendo related news has taken place, and I feel like we usually talk about Nintendo related stuff on here.
hmm
I wanted your take on the Switch 2, highly controversial right now.
I mean,
How are you feeling?
I'm glad that it's just like Switch, but better because I really like the Switch.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I guess I wish they had done like something a little more interesting, but at the same time, like I've had the Switch for whatever, like 8 years now, and it's pretty
yeah,
sick. The price kind of sucks, but I don't know. It's like I keep seeing people, and I think this is like super lame. They'll put these charts up of like, actually, this is what the console should cost because of inflation, blah blah blah. And it's like I don't like it
yeah.
can
That's
still like
random.
really suck. Like $450 is still like a lot of money, and that I don't know.
Hmm.
Like I don't want to spend that, but at the same time, I don't know. I've also been like setting money aside for it because I'm like
Yeah,
when I because like I'll want to get it, and I was like, I'm like thankfully in a spot where I can like set $25 aside every paycheck, and like
yeah,
I've been
yeah.
doing that for a while, and it's like okay, so now like when I buy it, it's going to cost me like effectively $100, whatever.
Right.
I'll do that when I guess like regarding like tariff stuff with it, I did tell myself if it got up like over 500 for just the console, I'm probably
Yeah,
just like not gonna
I was
do it
worried about
because I
that.
was like, but I don't know. It seems like the things that I was reading online was that the pre-orders will start like I guess this coming week from when we're recording.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'll try to get mine, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think for me, I was a little disappointed not with the system. I think the system is what I wanted
hmm
because, like, personally, I think the Switch is like nearly a perfect console,
Yeah.
other than just like being a little underpowered.
hmm
So in that regard, I think it's just what I wanted. The price isn't that crazy to me. I think for me, it was. I felt like the direct was underwhelming because half of the games, more than half of the games, are things that have like already been out for a decade now. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, we have like Red Dead Redemption on there. We have FromSoft games. It's like
hmm I
we've already
think
been able to play a lot of these games.
yeah, I think for some of it like it's kind of cool in the sense that like I don't know. I'm just thinking of, like if I was 15 and all I had was a Switch, and then
Yeah,
like I can get this new one. It's like oh now I can play Elden Ring. Like everyone's been talking about Elden Ring.
yeah,
I've had no way to play it. Now I can finally play it.
that's
That's
true.
pretty sick. Like Cyberpunk or whatever. Like Street Fighter Six is on there. I might straight up just get Street Fighter Six again because
Yeah,
it runs like a little. It runs like frame rate wise fine on the Steam Deck, but the graphics are
yeah,
like a little bit gross. So I'm like, if I get it, I might just get it on the Switch also, just because I've also honestly been just going ham with Street Fighter lately. So I'd probably just get it again. So like I think that stuff is kind of cool. I wish there was like a big Nintendo game to like get really excited about. Like I think the Donkey Kong
hmm,
Bonanza will be cool. Like I guess that's the sort of the Mario Odyssey like
yeah.
placeholder thing, but like
And I
it
think
kind of stinks.
The Mario Kart game looks like it's.
I think it looks really cool. Yeah.
I was pretty underwhelmed by the direct, and if it weren't for the Mario Kart, I would be like, I'm not getting this. But like, I might just get it to play Mario Kart World
Oh yeah,
because
I'm hoping
as
to
a
get
kid,
the
yeah,
one with like the Mario Kart like pack in or whatever. I'm
yeah,
really excited for it. I think it's like hard to like get super amped about Mario Kart as like that's kind of the marquee game. Even though
yeah,
I play like a lot of Mario Kart even now, like
mm,
I'll just do the trials and stuff like that. But I feel like it has a different feeling to it than like oh, there's a new Mario Odyssey. I'm getting to like walk around all these worlds and stuff.
yeah,
I'm hoping, I guess, that like the kind of like the just driving around open world nature of it can kind of like fulfill that. Of like there'll be collectibles and things like that. So that's what
yeah.
I'm looking
That's
forward to.
like the thing I'm excited about because as a kid, I loved the ATV off road Fury
Yeah.
games, which are just like randomly like doing jumps off of
Yep.
hills and stuff. Those games were crazy.
hmm
I loved the Wii Sports Resort game where you could like fly the plane
Mm-hmm.
around, just like chill.
Yeah.
I like just like aimless driving
hmm
games, so I think doing that in Mario Kart really cool.
Yeah.
DK game looks all right. I'm really excited for Kirby Air Ride. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
even a huge kart fan, but like I played that game a lot as a kid, so I think they're just getting me with like nostalgia bait. But yeah, I kind of wanted to see more like original type games because I'm not super into like big AAA American RPGs,
Hmm.
and that was a lot of what they were launching.
Yeah,
They have a new like Splatoon game on the horizon though, or something of that nature. Like I'm all in.
I hope
I just
so.
need to
Yeah,
see that.
yeah. I assume. Well, I guess I assume there will be an Animal Crossing next because the same team that works on Animal Crossing is the one that works on Splatoon. So since
Mm,
Splatoon 3 came out, I'm guessing it'll be like whatever Animal Crossing next year, Splatoon the following year, a
yeah.
couple years later, something like that.
And I feel like if this doesn't sell super well, like a new Animal Crossing, I think would sell the
Oh,
system because of all the people that got into
mhm.
cozy games over the past
Oh,
five
yeah,
years.
that's a whole thing. There's like an entire like I mean, if you think about it, like someone that got into whatever like gaming 5 years ago, like there's like a
Yeah.
generation of people who play video games that are like, oh, I am a cozy gamer.
Yeah, it's like pun intended, a cottage industry at this
Yeah.
point of like influencers that are just like, oh, I played the latest Stardew Valley clone. And I think those
Hmm.
games were cool for like the first year, and now it's become like absolute like Wii Sports clone tier shovelware content
Yeah.
where it'll just be like, oh, this game is the next Animal Crossing. And you'll see a bunch of people on Instagram be like, this game is just as good as Animal Crossing.
They always
And then you pull it
stink,
up,
dude.
yeah, it's just like buggy
Yeah.
and like
I'll
half
I'll
finished.
be honest, like I don't even really like Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is just like
Yeah.
too much. Animal Crossing is really the only one of those, and other than Fantasy Life, I liked Fantasy Life a good amount. I played that on the
Mm.
3DS, and there's a new one coming out for the Switch. It
Oh,
looks
yeah.
atrocious on the Switch. The frame rate is
Yeah.
just awful, so that's a bummer. But yeah, I wish they would make this. Obviously, will not happen, but like an Animal Crossing that's a little more like the N64 GameCube one. My
Oh,
wife and
those were
I
fun.
sort of like played that one back over the winter for a little bit, and it's so cool to just like, okay, you're in a town and you kind of have to like abide by these rules. I don't really want to
Yeah.
like, I don't know, I don't want to play God and like make my
Yeah.
thing up. Like I just want
And
to like exist in this space.
And it's cool that the animals are generally pretty mean and
Hmm.
like rude to you.
Yeah.
We needed more of that because in the new game they're like really nice and
Hmm.
accommodating, which as a kid was not what I wanted. I had so much fun like hitting them with shovels and butterfly nets.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to smack him with a net.
Hmm.
All right. Well, let's hop into our Tankamon Essentials. We're going to update our list. Before we do, I'll kind of go over the one that we previously made back, I don't know, 70, 80 episodes ago, something like that, a
Yeah.
couple years ago now. But the Tankamon Essentials list is basically just what it says. These are the manga that, we've kind of deemed uh, like essential to us or like reflect kind of the essence of the show. Like, if
Hmm.
we had to sort of put our, I'm not even gonna say like our the things that we would say are the greatest, but like have the best reflection of like the things that we value in manga.
Yeah.
And I think this list does a pretty good job. So we're gonna add some more titles to that. We're each gonna add two, and then we'll kind of together we'll add one from the series that we like covered in sort of our like book club style episodes we did.
Mm.
So the list as it stands right now, and it is an ordered list as well. So theoretically, if you wanted to kind of check them out, you would go from 1 to 10. But right now, it's Azumanga Daioh from Kiyohiko Azuma, Dragon Ball from Akira Toriyama, Cross Game from Mitsuru Adachi, Cat Soup from Nekojiru, City from Keiichi Arawi, Blank Canvas, My So-Called Artist Journey from Akiko Higashimura, One Piece from Ichiro Oda, Mob Psycho 100 from One, Popo by Nao Momose, and then number 10 is Slam Dunk by Takahiko Inoue. All right, well, Jude, do you want to just get started with the first series?
Yeah, this is one that I remember talking about briefly as just like a bonus pick, like maybe a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
ago. But it's one that I always like come back to or think about when I'm thinking of like cool, underrated manga with an interesting style. But this one is Coffee Mao Ipai or One More Cup of Coffee by Naoto Yamakawa. And this is a series that ran from 2004 to 2009 in Comic Beam, which is a monthly kind of like underground, less known magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And as the title suggests, each chapter is like a discrete, like separate short story that happens to either be set in a cafe or involve coffee in some way. Like it kind of reminds me of like 70s and 80s manga, even though it's like, I guess, compared to that, more contemporary, because there's a lot of like stock character designs. There's basically like 5 or 6 total like characters. They may have different names or occupations, but they're dropped into these like little theatrical
Oh, okay, so it
episodes.
is like an anthology almost, rather than like a continuous
Yeah,
story or even just like an episodic, thing featuring these characters.
yeah, and it's definitely more of a sign-in thing because these are like short stories that you would read in like an Updike
Hmm.
short story collection, or like I don't know, like Franny and Zoe type of deal. A lot of them are about like city life, isolation, and loneliness, or romance. And there's also a lot of like tips on how to make your own coffee, or like roast coffee at
Mm.
home. It tells you how to do like what's that type of like filter that's really popular in Japan, where it's like got like the glass jar
Oh,
type
yeah,
thing, and
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm talking
Uh-huh.
about. Like it'll talk about that sort of thing, or just like how to tell different types of beans apart.
Hmm.
And the title, I learned this actually today when I was looking back at it, is a reference to a Bob Dylan song, which
Mm.
makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of like music references and like troubadour type
Hmm.
characters here. And most of his artwork that he's published outside of this series involves like coffee or record stores in some way. I follow him on Twitter, and he posts a lot of like wallpaper type drawings that you could like turn into a phone background, and
Okay,
it's all
yeah.
just like two people at a record store, or some guy like sitting on his balcony sipping coffee. It's real like cozy manga. It's got some like, and it sounds like corny, and some, usually I hate this type of thing, but it's like, oh, it's got some like literary fiction type
Mm-hmm.
qualities, but I think it's played sincerely enough and done well enough that I really dig it. And the art style is very sick. It reminds me of like German expressionist wood carving type art, like something you'd see on a 90s emo album cover that you'd find in like a dollar bin at a record store. Very cool stuff.
That's tight. Yeah, that's something I've been like kind of looking for a little bit more in manga is like I don't know. I feel like at this point I want like a little bit of pretension in
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
There's I can't remember the exact name off the top of my head, but it's called like Craftsman Stories or something like that. And I've read like a few
Hmm.
chapters of it, and it's really sick. It's just like kind of similar. It's like this anthology series of like one of them is like someone like making like baskets. One's like a
Yeah.
person who like makes swords. There's like things like that, and it's pretty cool, and it is like a similar thing of just like I don't know. It feels like it could be like a short novella where each chapter is like explaining like this little story or something like that. So I can kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, like I'm surprised that it even is available translated on Manga Dex.
Hmm.
I don't think there was an official English translation of it, but I think there might be like a French or like a German translation out there.
Yeah.
So it's at least popular enough to have like left
Hmm.
Japan in some form or another. But it's definitely like an indie title, like underground comics,
Yeah.
or like the type of thing you would have seen in like the Vice News comics section back when they still did that.
Hmm.
Very cool though.
Where do we want to place this one? Where are you feeling it
This
in our
one's,
list?
for me, this is definitely like a deep cut. Like I put Popo by Now Mosame or Momose on our list earlier,
Hmm.
and that was like a one shot. So I would say this is similar, where it's like this is going to be pretty hard to track down, and I think it's very cool. And I think it's something where it's like if I'm trying to get somebody into like alt manga, I
Yeah.
would probably start them here. But I wouldn't put it up there with like Dragon Ball, obviously, or even Cat Soup. Like this is bottom of this list
What do
for
we think
sure.
about below One Piece, above Mob Psycho?
I'm even putting this below I think I'll put it right below Mob Psycho
Okay.
because personally, I got a lot of affection for Mob Psycho,
Hmm.
so I'm putting this one even below that.
That works. We'll throw it in there at number. It's the new number 9 now.
All right.
The series I'm gonna do is one that if you listen to the show before, I've talked about 1,000 times. So I don't know how much like interesting discussion there is to be had about it, but it's a
Yeah.
Yotsubato or Yotsuba and by Kiyohiko Azuma. I, you know, when I was like trying to think of things for this, I was sort of just like, well, this should just be on here. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's that good.
there's a. I think I would make the argument that like Yotsuba is just like the best manga,
Mhm.
and I think it, obviously like similar to Azumanga Daioh, it does like all of the things that we enjoy. It's like very episodic, very just like slice of life, real simple, like also just really hilarious and at times like super sincere. The art is incredible, and it's also one of these things too where it's like, he puts out like 2 chapters a year, and that pace
Yeah.
is totally fine because when a new chapter comes out, it's just like, this is the best thing ever. And yes, and I think it's fitting that Kiyohiko Azuma is the first person to have kind of two series on our essentials list, because I feel like that's like the right choice.
Yeah. I mean, definitely. And I think at this point, it's really hard to tell which one is the better series personally.
Hmm.
Like, I think Azumanga Daioh may have had more impact on at least like American
Oh,
manga
certainly,
fandom.
yeah.
But I mean, Yotsuba's art style and like storytelling, especially in recent years, is like top tier.
Hmm.
So I feel like to me they're like really neck and neck in terms of quality, but one, like one will be better in terms of comedy. Like I think Azumanga Daioh is like funnier
Definitely, yeah.
and easier to read, but like
Hmm.
Yotsuba is just like really good and like life affirming, I guess.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I feel like Yotsu was one of these ones that like there are times I'll just like I have all the volumes in Japanese. And I'll just like
Mm.
open it up and like flip through one of the pages, just like grab a random volume, and even just like doing that is like, oh, this is probably the best thing I'll do all day.
Yeah, it's and recently I guess the worlds have kind of collided too
Yes.
because Osaka and Yotsuba appeared in a recent Yotsuba chapter.
Yep. Yeah, Osaka appeared in the most recent Yotsuba chapter as she's like a teacher at the school, which is it's funny because that was like one of her goals in Azumanga Daioh. So
Yeah.
he's really like just like connecting them all, which is cool. I'm not like a big I didn't need like the Kiyohiko Azuma comic universe. I think that stuff was like a little bit corny, but Osaka's sick, so I don't know, any more chances
Yeah.
we can get with her, that's fine by me.
Yeah, I was happy to see it as somebody that's read like
Yep.
at least half of either of those
Hmm.
series.
All right. Where do we want to place Yotsuba? I'm thinking like fairly high, but
Hmm.
not like touching the top few. Maybe I would say
I'd throw it
somewhere in the
under.
Catsup City range.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it above City under Cat
That
Soup.
works.
Cat Soup is like goaded in its own lane, but I think City is kind of in the same lane as an Azumanga or a Yotsuba, but
Yeah. Hmm.
maybe not quite on that level.
Yeah, I think that works. All right. What's your next series?
Yeah, this is kind of an unusual pick, and I thought about it for a second, but honestly, this is like one of the first, uh, I guess, series that I actually wanted to collect all of them
Hmm.
after getting into manga again recently. And this one is Kirby Manga Mania. Honestly, looks like some slop on the cover, and it kind of is some slop, but to me, it's really good slop. I feel like there's a whole genre of comic where it's like Koro comic published
Yep.
like toy or anime tie-ins.
Hmm.
Manga Mania was one of those series. It ran in Koro from 1995 to 2006, and the reason I like it is one, it really bends the rules of what Kirby's like traditional art style looks like. He's like, I guess like thinner or like more squash
Yeah.
than the Kirby we all know and love. His face is a lot more detailed, and a lot of the enemies are like, I guess like more like chibified versions of
Hmm.
themselves. And I'm also really into it because it completely breaks the rules of like what like the vibe and
Kirby's
personality
like
of Kirby's was.
super mean in the thing a lot of
Yeah,
times. Like I feel
he
like
he
there's like chapters he
smokes,
gets
he
drunk
drinks.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, And that's why I like it so much. I think that kind of is like the tone of core comics in general.
Hmm.
Like I know that I guess the Pokemon one plays it pretty straight, but I know the Mario one is like pretty goofy and out there.
Yeah. There's
Um,
the Splatoon one. Well, there's a couple Splatoon ones. There's like the one where there's like an actual kind of storyline, and it's pretty
yeah,
similar to like the Pokemon one of just like, a manga for kids. But then there's like the Squid Kids Comedy Club thing, which is like the 4 panel one. I don't know if that runs in Korokoro, but if not, it has like a similar spirit of just like, you know, some of the jokes are just like stupid toilet humor stuff, and it's
yeah.
like it's kind of funny to see them like allow their characters to be used in that way.
And that's what I really like about this one. I think to me, I've read a bunch of these like kids slop
Hmm.
comics, and I think there's a very wide range of how good they are. There's one in general that I read recently that's called like Zombie. That's just like a character, like it's not tied into
Yeah.
anything. It's just a character, and I thought it was like kind of cool. But to me, Kirby Manga Mania is like honestly postmodernist art by just like how dense it is.
There's so
Like
much stuff
each
on the page.
yeah, like each panel has like a wall of text. There's like so much going on in each illustration that I feel like it really transcends this like kids manga genre. And I just think the art is like kind of impressive too.
Hmm.
It's cool that he's managed to like make a series last a decade and somehow make it legitimately funny. Like I don't usually even laugh at gag manga. This one like legitimately is kind of funny.
Yeah, the thing I like about it too is that it does kind of stand separately from like other Kirby stuff. Like it
Yeah.
would be funny if this was someone's only like interaction with Kirby, but also like I
Yeah.
think that would be pretty valid. Like you don't really need any reference for the games to like
Yeah.
enjoy the thing, cuz like all the jokes are just like they're just stupid like like Cartoon Network show tier type stuff.
Yeah. And I think I think for me like as a Kirby fan and somebody that like loves the games,
Mhm.
I think that adds a little bit to it for me. Like if I didn't love Kirby, I don't think I would have checked this out in the
Yeah.
first place. But yeah, it's weird. I'm like I don't know why I like this, but for some reason I'm like I finished volume 1 and I'm like I want more of this. I think there's like 10 volumes of
Oh,
this.
that's
So
crazy.
I mean, dude was a workhorse. Like, there's no reason for this much Kirby manga mania to exist, and there's no reason for it to like actually hold my attention for as long as it did.
That's crazy they put
So
so
for
many
that,
out.
I'm putting it.
Because
Yeah,
I remember when
I'm
the
putting it on my
I
list.
remember when the first one came out, I got it because I was like, "Oh, I'll collect all of these." And then, like, as they
Yeah,
kinda kept coming out, I was like, "I can't buy like, I'm gonna have to get, like, 15 of these Curry Manga Mania."
yeah.
So I had to tap out, but
They come out with these fast too, because like the Animal Crossing, I guess that
mhm.
was also like a core comics. The Animal Crossing one has gotten up to like volume like 12 or 13, I
Oh my
think,
gosh.
and those started coming out pretty
Mhm.
recently,
Yeah,
at least in America.
yeah. Alright, where do we wanna throw this one?
This one I'm cool with like putting at the very bottom. This is like a very personal choice for me.
That works, yeah. I'm cool putting it below Slam Dunk. We can finish
Yeah,
off the
that's how I'm
list with
like
Curry
I
Manga
can't really
Mania.
put this above any of these series that I think are actually very good.
Yeah.
But to me I'm like this is an essentials list and I think for me like part of me was like maybe I want to throw Pokemon on there, but I feel like we've talked about it so much and
Mhm.
I wanted to talk about something newer, so I'm like I'll pick Kirby Manga Mania.
Yeah, that works. All right, and my final series I'm going to put up here is Hikaru no Go by Yumi Hota and Takashi
Oh
Obata.
yeah.
This series just, it was one that like I knew about as a kid because like my dad got me like the little like the American Shonen Jump that had like the Blue
Yeah.
Eyes Ultimate Dragon in it, and I think there was a Hikaru no Go chapter in that, and I remember like seeing the commercials for it. Just like I was aware that it existed, and I thought it was
Mhm.
cool. Um, and I don't know, last year, maybe like at the beginning of last year or something like that, I picked it up because I was just like, I'll check it out. Like I've not actually like read it
Yeah.
before, and I just like plowed through the whole thing. It's awesome. It's like I think the best version of that kind of like early mid 2000s tone that we kind of always talk
Mhm.
about. Just like the vibe of it, the way the characters are like dressed, the way it's like drawn is so good. Even like we both like really like sports manga, and this is definitely just like a
Yeah.
sports manga at heart. Um, It's awesome. It ends off like super weird, but I think this manga is like really great. And yeah, I feel like since I've read it, I've been like forever kind of chasing the high that I got with Hikaru no Go, and I have not found anything that can quite fill the void. I keep like picking up these other like manga from 2003, and the style might be there or something, but it doesn't have the kind of the swag that Hikaru no Go has.
I think that's like Obata's secret. Like, I don't think anybody creates characters as swagged out as
No,
Obata.
and I mean, like, when we covered Death Note, we obviously had like a lot of gripes about it, but I think very few
Yeah,
of them were aimed at Obata. Like, really, honestly, the guy,
yeah,
everything he does, just like, yeah, pretty sick, like that.
yeah. Like, I don't. I think Obata is like the master of like aura. Like, I don't think any manga character design has as much aura as like Death Notes or this. I mean, I've never read a page of this, but like
Oh, I mean,
some of these color pages and volume
are
covers
so
are
good.
like crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Obata, like, this manga should be here just because Obata needs to be on the list. Because I mean, even if you look at like
Yeah.
Shoha Shoten, even those characters, you're sort of
Hmm.
like, oh, this looks sick, and even
I
his
really like that series, by the way. I think it's crazy underrated, even though I think it's just because it's a monthly
yeah.
series and nobody reads
I
those.
haven't. I fell off of it after like the first year, and just
Yeah,
and I kept not because of any reason. It was just like I skipped a month, and then I skipped another month, and it was like, oh
yeah,
crap, now I've
yeah.
got a lot to read,
They're really long chapters.
and I need to get back. I need to get back on it because like even though I haven't read it in a couple of years, I'm still like whatever 20 chapters behind. Like it's not that much.
Yeah.
I need to just do it because I liked that series a lot too, and even like he did the character designs for that. Oh, is it called Castlevania Judgment? It was like a
That
Wii
sounds
fighting
right.
game, and he did the character
Yeah.
designs for it. And I mean, they look ridiculous, but at the same time, you look at them, you're like, one, this is so clearly Obata, and two, you kind of
Oh my god, yeah, I'm looking at it right
and you're
now.
kind of flipping through some of like the character like the splash page and stuff, and you're sort of like, kind of cool actually. Like I would play,
Yeah.
if I like booted up this fighting game, I would be excited to play some of these characters, and that's like not a thing I can say about like fighting games I even really like. Like Street Fighter 6 I've been playing a ton of, and most of the characters I'm like, these look horrific.
Yeah, the cover of Castlevania Judgment is basically just like a buff light Yagami
Yeah,
with armor on.
it's crazy.
Or like if Light and Ryuk did like a fusion
Yep.
dance, like this is what it would look like.
But even some of the other characters that you'll like flip through in there, like I think there's a wiki or something that has it. It's probably on fandom, so
Yeah.
it's probably hell to actually scroll.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you like flip through the other character like pages and stuff, you're like, oh, these are pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm throwing Hikaru no Go on here. I'm trying to think of like where it should go. I think personally,
I'm yeah.
I'm in like the One Piece blank canvasy range.
That sounds fair to me. I mean, I feel like it definitely has enough like critical and commercial acclaim to be in that like middle or top half.
Yeah, I think, man, it's been a while since I've read Blank Canvas, so it's hard for me to like pit it against that. But I really enjoyed Blank Canvas. I think Blank Canvas is one of those that I think that like if
Hmm.
I'm like taking a step back and like thinking about manga like critically, I think Blank Canvas is
Yeah.
like super super good. Um,
Hmm.
and there is part of me that's just like, if I had to pick up 200 chapters of one of these, Hikaru no Go or One Piece, which one am I reading? I think I'm picking Hikaru no Go. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it over One
I
Piece
feel you.
there.
Yeah. I think personally for me, like I think I gotta make sure City stays in the top half too.
Yeah.
Because even though like a lot of this top half stuff is like pretty renowned, I think City's gonna be renowned by the end of this year. Once that anime
Hmm.
drops, it's over.
Yeah,
They're gonna be calling Arawi the goat.
that's the thing. Like, yeah, I feel like Nichijou is spoken of mostly in the context of the anime, and so
Yeah,
the same will probably happen to City if the anime is even like close to as good as the trailer like kind of led us to believe.
and as somebody that like really enjoys the Nishijo anime and manga, like I think that the City manga like totally clears the Nishijo manga, and I was just reading it, so like
Hmm. I need
It's
to.
fresh in my memory.
Yeah, I've read the first volume of Nichijou. I need to pick it back up and keep going because my goal is to get through Nichijou and then start up on City. And I was hoping to get like a decent way through City before the anime started, but I don't know if I'll have the
Yeah,
time. We'll see.
because Nishijo to me is like a lot of the 4 panel Azumanga Daioh type
Definitely,
chapters.
yeah.
City is like if Azumanga Daioh was like only the chapter length, like because I instead of like doing the 4 panels, there will be those like occasional chapter
Hmm.
length stories. Like City is basically that as like an entire series.
The Yotsuba to Azumanga Daioh.
It really is actually. It was like Yotsuba if like Yotsuba had 200 characters in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so those are the new ones we've picked. Jude, so I was kind of waffling between two series for ones of like that
Mm,
we covered to throw in there. Because I like immediately I checked a Death Note off. That one can't go on. We had way too many gripes
yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Nausicaa, I think when
Nausicaa
reading
was
it was
yeah.
good, but like I remember just kind of like not being super like into that series like personally. So I kind of checked that one off. And personally, I was kind of between either Sket Dance or Assassination Classroom.
Yeah, I think for me I was thinking cuz I loved Sket Dance.
Hmm.
I think Sket Dance is a little too long for me to I would say like if I could put like the first 80 chapters of Sket Dance on this list, I would do that. Assassination Classroom, I almost hate to say it. Like, I think Assassination Classroom is better than Sket Dance.
Hmm.
And I do want to throw the Pokemon manga on there. Although, that's one of those weird things where it's like, I would say if you could put Pokemon Adventures like volumes 1 through 10
Yeah,
on
that was my
there,
thing with Pokemon Adventures is that
it's too long.
the last whatever that last section of Pokemon Adventures we did was, I
That
remember
got
it
ass.
being like kind of grueling, and I'm not,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read past that, so I was like, I don't feel like I can put Pokemon Adventures on there just because of that.
Because I don't want to just put like one arc of a series on
Yeah.
here.
My argument for Skit Dance is that it's Shinohara, and I feel like
Yeah, that's
Shinohara is
yeah.
like so much of you know we appreciate Shinohara and what he does so much on this show that like it feels right to give him the nod. It should be Witch Watch, but that's not how the rules are laid out right now. So
Yeah, because honestly, here, like the thing is, if we could put Astra Lost in Space on
that
here,
would be
like,
pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, Shinohara deserves that
Hmm.
because that series is fire. It's not like it's not classic Shinohara, but it's also pretty great in its own right.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what other series did we cover? I guess we did some of the Junji Ito ones. I don't feel like any of those
No, we're
fit.
not throwing that on there.
Um,
I'm leaning towards Assassination Classroom, and I'm also like looking back at the archives real quick, see what we got.
I mean, Assassination
There are a
Classroom
couple.
is one of like three manga I've ever read twice, and I feel like that means something.
Yeah. Okay, we are not throwing Mason Ikoku on there.
No, unfortunately.
Absolutely
Yeah,
not. I mean, I enjoyed some of it, but
yeah,
no.
it doesn't
No.
belong. Man, I tried pretty recently. I guess I'll get into it maybe a little bit more when we talk about like some of the stuff we've been reading. But like, I tried to read Yurusa Yatsura, and I've done this like 6 times. I feel like I get to chapter 5, and I'm just like, I
Yeah.
can't read any more of this.
Yeah, I think for me, like I love the art style of Rumiko Takahashi, but it's hard to read. I think Ranma One Half is like legitimately great. Everything else is like
I
okay.
want to check all of her stuff out, but I feel like if I'm going to read it all, I'm like, well, because like I really want to read Inuyasha because like growing
Hmm.
up, I would see Inuyasha come on, but it would always be on Adult Swim, and I wasn't allowed to watch it. So
Yeah.
like I've never gotten
Yeah.
to experience Inuyasha, and I'm like, I just need to do it. I need to read it, but I have like I feel like it's one of these things like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do the Rumiko Takahashi thing, I need to just like plow through all the others in order. But that means I have
Yeah.
to
I feel
read
that.
Yurusa Yatsura and Ranma, and then I can get to Inuyasha, and that's like 1,000 chapters of manga, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
Looking back at the archives, I think it's got to be Assassinate. either Assassination Classroom or Sket Dance, and I think I'm throwing the vote in for Assassination
I'm cool with
Classroom.
Assassination Classroom, and I think that's fitting too because it was the first series we did. So those
Yeah,
episodes were probably rough, but
all the more reason to recommend it now.
exactly. Yeah, I'm cool with Assassination Classroom because I think Matsui has like he there's a Tankobon quality to him, even if Elusive Samurai doesn't quite have it. Like Nogami Neuro definitely is a series that like if that had come out in Shonen Jump when we were like covering it, we would
Hmm.
be like, oh, this is super sick. Even though I think that
Yeah,
series I got to like chapter 30 and I was like, no way I can keep reading this. But
yeah, I really like stuff that exists in like the exact intersection between comedy and gag
yeah,
series, and that's why I think or, between gag series and action series.
yes,
Yeah, there we
it's the perfect like it's like one of the best kind of like Shonen Jump type of series. It's probably like
go. Hmm.
in man. Now I kind of wonder if you like ranked the Shonen Jump series, like how high would Assassination Classroom be? It might be pretty high to be honest.
Yeah, it's super good.
So yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with Assassination Classroom. Um, Honestly though, I'm kind of thinking like just above maybe Kirby Manga Mania, below Slam Dunk.
Yeah, yeah. Let's. I don't even think I want to throw it above Slam Dunk
Yeah.
because like Slam Dunk is really good. So let's go beneath that.
Do we want to put
Because
it
it's
below
like
Kirby? Do we want it 15th or
now
14th?
I think Kirby is a solid like bottom choice because if I were gonna like rank this and be like you should check it out in this order, like Kirby Manga Mania is one you kind of got to be already tapped in to appreciate. I think otherwise you're gonna be completely turned off by it.
That's fair. Yeah, it is. It's a pretty like unique thing that if you're not prepared for like a Doctor Slump style like old comedy series of just like vomiting jokes onto the page, you're gonna have a tough
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm. For
That
sure.
works. Yeah, we'll throw Assassination Classroom at number 14. So to kind of recap our essentials list, which is now grown to 15 series, we've got I'll go from 15 to 1 now. We've got Kirby Manga Mania, Assassination Classroom, Slam Dunk, Popo, Coffee Mo Ipai, Mob Psycho 100, One Piece, Hikaru no Go, Blank Canvas, My So Called Artist Journey, City, and then our top 5 are Yotsubato, Cat Soup, Cross Game, Dragon Ball, and Azumanga Daioh. Honestly, sick list.
Yeah. I like having Dragon Ball really high, but not at the very top.
Having Dragon Ball up there, yeah. Honestly, this is just like great list making. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I really feel like I like having cross game that high too because I really think people need to check out cross game. Like Cat Soup being up there is like me just being like that's kind of an indulgent part of the list for me. But cross game is like actually goated. Might be one of just like the most technically perfect manga I've ever
I
read.
mean, he's another one of
Can't get
those
any better.
like Takahashi where it's like, okay, like I want to read it, but at the same time, like, well, if I'm gonna read it, I should probably read Mix and I should probably read Touch and
Yeah.
like all these other series first. And once again, it's like, well, that's 1,000 chapters of manga I have to read. I need to just like get it out of my. I do the same thing with movies. I'm doing it right now,
Yeah.
actually, where I really want to watch that Hayao Kapadia movie. Oh, I can't even think of what it's called now. All We Imagine Is Light. It's on the
Mm.
Criterion channel, but I saw in an interview she had mentioned Hiroshima Mon Amour. I don't even know what the reference was. I don't even think it was like, oh, I tried to make my version of that. It was just like they're asking about movies and she mentioned it. That's another movie. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I should watch that. And so now I'm like, I need to watch Hiroshima Mon Amour before watching All We Imagine Is Light. And last week I watched like the first movie that she put out, which was like frankly not all that interesting. But I was
Mm.
like, I need to watch this before I watch this one, or I'm not gonna understand it. It's like this disease I have of like the way I sort of like consume art and media is like, why am I experiencing it if I can't figure out like all the reasons they did these things they did?
Yeah. I struggle with that with music too, where I'm
Oh man,
like, what, like, I'll be like, I won't be like, am I enjoying this? I'll be like, what am I getting out of
yep.
this? And then I'll be like, I'm not enjoying it because I'm too busy trying to be like, what chord progression are they using here, or like what does this remind me of?
Yeah.
Why can't I listen to this entire discography simultaneously? Like it shouldn't take me time to listen to music. I
Mhm.
should be able to just like look at it and I've heard
Well,
it.
man, I've got the genre for you. It's called hardcore.
Yeah, exactly.
I've actually been listening to so much music lately because if I see someone just like post like my band put out a demo, honestly in any other genre, I'm like, no way I'm checking that out, right? Some
Yeah.
indie rock artist like my band put out our first EP, I'm like, probably sucks, not listening to it. But hardcore, I'm like, yeah, dude, less than 100 listeners on Spotify, I'll check it out. Like,
Well, I think
and
it's an inverse thing because then somebody will be like, "Yo, we got signed to a major label," and it's like, then you see the first interview, and it's like, "Yeah, we're putting elements of post-hardcore, emo pop, and pop punk in this album." It's like it's over.
yes,
We're trash.
they're like, I've been listening to a lot of Chapel Roan, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm tapped out. I'm good.
Now they're all becoming like shoegaze and like post grunge bands.
Oh man, people, you know, people still try to say that that title fight record was good. It sucked. Hyperview is trash. I'm putting my foot down. We're not reclaiming Hyperview. That record is awful. All right. Well, I think that does it for our kind of talk about essentials discussion. Jude, what other kind of like manga, anime stuff have you been? I figured we can rather than like our normal like one kind of series recommendation, we would just talk about like all the various stuff that we kind of have been reading and watching recently, or like while we weren't doing the show and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I bought some more. I think I've mentioned this one on the podcast before, but last time I was at Manga, I got some more Die Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a lot of people know Dora Hedoro. Die Dark is kind of like the spiritual successor, a lot more comedy forward. I think it goes even further with like the exaggerated horror aesthetics that Dora Hedoro explores and puts it through a more explicitly sci-fi lens. Really cool character designs. And tonally, it kind of reminds me of Adventure Time. It
Oh,
has like
interesting.
a very
Mm-hmm.
like millennial sense of humor. So your mileage may vary depending on how much you can tolerate that. But I still have a soft spot for like derpy XD type random humor. So I like it.
It's one I've been wanting to check out because I liked Dora Hedoro quite a bit. Dora
Mm-hmm.
Hedoro is one of those ones that like I kept putting off because it's like one of those top ones of like I like Chainsaw Man. What should I read? They're like Dora Hedoro,
Yeah.
and I did eventually like read it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's really sick. So I've been wanting to check out
Yep.
Die Dark because I think she's really good.
Yeah. Like peak art
Hmm.
style. Anything where it's like blending horror and like cute in a way that's not just like, oh, I did like a chibi skeleton man or something like
Exactly.
it's very cool. Um, what else? I watched the first episode of the Witch Watch anime.
Mm,
It's like pretty good,
yeah, I need to check
like a
that out. I
solid
saw it like pop up on
solid
Netflix or
premiere.
something.
It's not like reinventing the genre. I think Blue Box is a more like aesthetically impressive adaptation, but like
Hmm.
it's about what I expected, and I expected it to be good. So
Nice. Yeah, I need to
I'm
check it out.
happy.
I've been really excited for it.
I'm glad it's on Netflix because I think people will actually like if something's on Crunchyroll, obviously people are gonna like check it out, but
Only the
only
real
anime
anime
fans are.
heads are watching. Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like if you kind of like anime and you see something dropped on Netflix, you'll be like, yeah, I'll just throw this on
Yeah.
because I mean that's how I felt about the Ranma one half show. I was
Hmm.
like, I saw it was on there and I checked it out. I was totally hooked.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, like even for me, if something, it's almost like if something's on Netflix, I'm fine just like throwing it on. But it's like if I'm
Exactly.
going to Crunchyroll, it's like okay, I have to be like I am watching anime right now.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really know why that is, but
Hmm.
it's definitely the case. Like I got to lock in to
Yeah.
watch something on, and like the load times are much worse and the site's kind of broken. So you do have to pay attention or
Yeah.
else the site will
The player
crash.
is awful.
Yep.
It's embarrassingly bad.
Yeah. My quick complaint about Crunchyroll is that half the time if something is in English you can't put the subtitles on. You can only watch it subbed or dubbed. You can't watch it subbed and dubbed at the same
It's
time, which is
unbearable.
like honestly the worst decision I've ever
Yeah.
seen on a streaming platform, and I don't understand. There's like some
I
licensing
think it
reason they
is
can't
because
do
I looked into
that.
this one time, and I think I looked into this. Like I read a few Reddit threads about it, and I think that's what it
Yeah.
is. Is that like they don't? I don't know. There is like different licensing for like
Mm,
those like subtitle tracks or something like that. I don't know exactly. Maybe that's just like I don't
yeah.
know random crap that Crunchyroll's saying because they don't want to like run subtitles on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it is something like that because I don't actually think they're even the only ones that has that issue. I think High Dive also had that, and I think Funimation before they got bought by Crunchyroll had a similar thing. Because I would watch when I had my old work from home job, I would watch a lot of anime while I worked, and
Hmm.
I would be on the phone a lot. So what I would do is I would have my computer up with like anime going, and while I was like working, I could like hear it. So I would listen to the dubs a lot. But then when I would be on the phone, my phone calls were like so like routine that I could just like turn and kind of like watch the screen, but I would
Yeah.
mute it so I could read it. But if I was watching, it was either like I could either not understand it when I wasn't paying attention because I had to watch the sub, but I could understand it when I was on calls. Or I could understand it when I wasn't, when I wasn't paying attention, and then not know what they were saying while I was on the call. It was
Yeah.
so annoying.
The licensing thing makes sense though, because there will be like some streamers where they'll have like only the subtitled
Hmm.
version or only the dubbed version,
Yeah,
like, and I mean that seems weird to me, but
it's
I
so frustrating. Yeah,
nothing about the way like the anime licensing industry works makes any sense to me, and I
no,
don't really care to
no,
understand
it's
that.
so stupid. All right, is there anything else you've been checking out?
Not really. Those are the two main things.
I've got a few things that I've like chipped away at. One was that Kowloon generic romance that I mentioned maybe in the
Oh
first
yeah.
episode back. I think the anime is probably out now. I haven't watched it yet. I need to, but that manga is really sick, really good. Um, I started up Dororo, the Tezuka series.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
really cool. In some ways, it feels like proto Berserk, like Tezuka's version of Berserk, which is interesting. So that series is pretty cool.
yeah.
Let's see what else have we checked out here. I checked out from the library Tono Monogatari, which is what's his name? The guy who did Gegege no Kitaro, Shigeru Mizuki. It's like
Yeah.
this collection of like ghost stories, basically, and it's pretty cool. Like it's published by Drawn and Quarterly over here, and so like the
Oh, I
packaging
love
and
their
stuff
stuff.
is
Yeah.
really good. So that one's really awesome. Um,
Manga like issues that are done by like the big American like indie comics publishers are always really good in
yeah,
my
they're really
opinion.
sick. One was that series I was mentioning earlier, that Neighborhood Craftsman. That one is really cool. That's one that I've read like a few chapters of it, and it like every chapter I've read, I think there's only like 6 chapters out or something. And I think
Yeah.
it's actually getting published by like maybe Yen Press in June or July. So
Oh,
it's coming out
cool.
over here pretty soon. But that's one that like while I was reading, I was just like, oh yeah, this is great. Like this this is like 10 out of like this is incredible. That manga is really, really good. Um that's most of like the manga stuff I've been checking out. There's like a couple other series that I've like read some chapters of, but I don't feel strong enough about them to mention them. Let's
Yeah.
see, anime wise, have I been checking anything out that I haven't mentioned? I watched that Catch Me at the Ballpark anime. That's
Oh, I've read some of that manga like when it was first getting
hmm
translated, and I really liked that, but there wasn't a lot of it out at that
yeah.
time. So
The first
I
episode
need
of
to
the
check
anime is
that.
really cool, and honestly, I think it's like it's got some reach to it. One of my old coworkers, the one who watches anime, and he's mostly like I watch Demon Slayer and Solo Leveling, and so and like he'll watch like some other more obscure stuff, but like he's very much
Yeah.
just like watch like whatever big like fighting anime is. And he texted me the other day. He was like, "Have you seen this Catch Me at the Ballpark anime?" He's like, "I watched episode one. It's awesome." I was like, "I have." I was like, "I'm shocked that you have." I was like, "So I wonder if it's sort of it's kind of spreading to other parts of the kind of anime manga community, which would be
Yeah.
sick."
Well, I need to peep it because I'm not just into baseball, but I'm also into like NPB baseball to a
Hmm.
certain degree. So
It's
I
really
know
cool.
some of the cultural aspects
Hmm.
of it. I know there's like people are like fans of certain beer vendors. So
Well, that's
I
that's
can
like the
imagine how this
yeah,
goes.
that's like the
Yeah.
whole crux of the story. It's cool, and it's also not like it's not exactly what I expected. I thought it would just be like pure kind of slop candy rom com stuff, and it's really not. Like it's
Yeah.
actually like the first episode is episodic in that like there's like multiple sort of it is like kind of like an old cartoon of like there will be like a part A and a part B kind of deal. This is
Yeah.
also sort of like that, but like there's a whole section in it that's just like a kid gets lost and the workers at the ballpark try to like you know talk to him and like find his parents kind of thing. Like it doesn't have anything to do with like the kind of romance plot of it or whatever. I was like, oh, so this is like there is more here. It's really well done. I think it's like pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
No, it looks really cool. I'm definitely gonna check it out
Hmm.
after this because love some Japanese baseball content.
Yeah, it's really cool. All right, G. Before we head out, do you have any kind of last minute bonus recommendations, anything like that?
Hmm. You go first, real quick. I
Yeah,
gotta think of something.
I mean, my bonus recommendation, I've recommended it, I think, on the podcast before, but and like I said earlier, I've been playing a ton of Street Fighter Six lately. My
Yeah.
recommendation just Street Fighter Six. If you have something to play it on, I recommend just getting it. If not, get that Switch 2 and buy it when it comes out with all the DLC on it. It's great. It's just like the best. I think is by far and away the best fighting game for people that haven't like dove into fighting games yet. It's got the modern controls mode, which like it means that you can actually get in there and like start playing Street Fighter, and
Yeah.
you're not like fighting against your controls and stuff like that. You can actually like engage with the mechanics and like the drive system and things like that, and actually like think about, oh, if my opponent does this, I need to do this, and not have to be like, if my opponent does this, I
Yeah.
need to make sure I hit my quarter circle and do all that stuff. It's a very good on ramp for that kind of stuff. And it's just you find games super fast. It's very like there's times when I'll find games almost too fast because like I'll sit in the training room like in between matches and I'll be like, oh, I want to like practice this combo before the next match, and then it's just like I do it one time. It's like, oh, I'm in the next match. I'm like, well, all right, I guess I'll play. It's yeah, it's really good. The online is great. I mean, just like I don't want to say like the perfect fighting game package, but like it's as good as it gets. It's
Yeah.
really really awesome. And you know, forever I played like team games and things like that. Like I would play MOBAs or like shooters and stuff. And the thing that I'm sure everyone who's played one of those games can relate is that like you're in the middle of the game, like you're doing pretty well, but then like one of your teammates just like throws a fit, and it's just like, well, all right, you just ruined the last 30 minutes for all of us. You never had that fighting games. If you lose, that's just because you suck. Should have been better. Should have improved. And I think too, not to like get like super philosophical about fighting games, but like I think we're all just like looking for a thing that we can improve at. In fighting game,
Yeah.
it's very obvious, right? Like there's combos that like a couple weeks ago couldn't do at all, and now it's just like second nature because I practiced it for 5 minutes a day, and just like that aspect of it is just like in some ways like learning an instrument is like, oh, now
Hmm.
now I can play Zangief. It's pretty cool.
All right. For me, I think my recommendation. I don't think I mentioned this one before. I read it recently though. It's this book called Rejection by Tony Tulathamude. It's a short story collection that's about like it's like a very internety novel, which I don't know. Sometimes I kind of hate like internety stuff,
Hmm.
but this one is like really good literary fiction about like repulsive losers who have like terrible, disgusting thoughts. There's one, and this is like a really big like literary fiction novel right now. There's one chapter called Ahegao, which is like pretty crazy. Yeah, honestly a lot of like obscure anime and like video game references in
Hmm.
it. um, Real good. And the title Rejection is kind of like the main theme of the novel. It's basically like people who are really desperate to be liked or kind of like tryhards constantly like pushing people away and not realizing it. But it's real good if you like stuff about unlikable characters.
Sounds cool. I might have to see if the library's got it.
Yeah, it's real like once again, I definitely feel like I have to put this disclaimer on like everything I recommend anymore, but it's like you have to have like a certain tolerance for like really pretentious or like up its own ass
I
writing,
mean,
but I like it.
I think there is like good pretension and like annoying pretension, but like,
Yeah.
more and more, like I've said, like I don't know, I want people to like make stuff that they like care about, and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to like do something here, and so I
Yeah.
think that like pretension is like most of the time good if we're being honest.
Yeah. And in this case, it's definitely like, I mean, some people might consider it like pretentious for pretension's sake,
Hmm.
but to me, I can see like the emotion behind
Yeah.
it. So to me, I think it's like real, it's a sincere book,
Hmm.
even though there's a lot of ironic language being deployed.
That's tight. Cool. All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. As usual, hit us with rating, review, like, subscribe, comment. Do it all, do none. That's cool. But yeah, we'll see you next time.